If you are struggling to get clients and it's your early days of an agency owner, in this video, I'm going to basically completely change your life and show you how to structure your agency and remodel your offer and everything that you do so that acquiring clients is bloody easy. If it's the case that you haven't got a bank of testimonials yet, you haven't got a huge amount of experience, you haven't got a huge amount of confidence in your ability to deliver results, and you're kind of like, oh my God, how am I going to get clients because like nobody's going to trust me? This video is going to show you two different models that you can use for your agency and two different pricing strategies that I would personally use if I was starting from scratch. So I built my first agency when I was 18 years old, and I basically was into this like framework of retainers. I was like, I have to charge $1,000 to $2,000 a month and convince people to buy, and that massively slowed me down. It took me, I think, 50 or 60 sales calls to sign my first client, and even then I got lucky because ultimately I didn't have conviction in my ability to deliver. If I used this model, what would have happened is I would have signed a bunch of other clients and made more money and had more confidence and got where I wanted to go faster. So in this video, I'm really excited. I'm going to break it down on my screen and hopefully change the way you model your agency so that client acquisition becomes significantly easier for you. Let's get into it. So here we are inside the trusty laptop. So my name's Charlie Morgan. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I've basically built and scaled my own agency to $100,000 a month. It's called NorthFlow Consulting. And now I run a company called Imperium Acquisition. We make $500,000 a month helping agency owners with client acquisition. Okay, so that's what I do. Let's get into it. So this is you, right? And as we all know, I'm not the best at drawing, but this is you, right? And if you're new to the game, i.e. you've been in business for maybe less than a year, you're probably struggling to acquire clients. You probably find that you're constantly in this like you're spinning your wheels, trying to figure out what works, making cold calls, sending cold emails, trying to create content. You're also working on all sorts of stuff. It's just a nightmare, right? So this is you, and we're going to pull you out of this nightmare. So the first model is a pay-per-lead model. Now, not in the traditional sense though. So when I say pay-per-lead, people misunderstand the best way to do this because they assume that what it means is that you just get paid every time you generate a lead. There's a way of structuring your agency, your pricing, your offer, and your service in a way that is, in my opinion, I'm pretty fucking genius for coming up with this, if I'm honest with you. So let's go through it. So here's the thing. So let's just take for argument's sake that you work with the gym niche, right? So you work with gyms and you want to make, say, $1,000 per month from each client, right? Because that's pretty much like the standard. You want to make $1,000 a month per client because you've done the math in your head. You know 10 clients is $10,000 a month. Here's what you want to do. If you want to make $1,000 a month for each client, and you first of all, a pay-per-lead model, or even better, a pay-per-appointment model. Now, if you are new to Smma and you haven't yet done lead generation campaigns, you're not going to know how to do pay-per-appointment. So figure out how to do pay-per-lead, and then once you figure that out, then you can do pay-per-appointment. Okay, if you want to go straight to the end of it and do pay-per-appointment, then you can. Even better, pay-per-show. But for the sake of this model, we're going to keep it simple and just call it pay-per-lead, okay? So it can be pay-per-result. But most people think the traditional pay-per-lead model is, as soon as you generate a prospect for the client, then you get paid. So when this person submits a form online and gives their name, their number, and their email, you bill the client for that lead. That is the traditional pay-per-lead model, and it doesn't work as well as the next model I'm about to show you. The model that I like to use, and the model that I would be using if I ran my own agency, is pay-per-lead upfront. Right. So I'm going to show you how this works, and clients love this, okay? So what you do is you say to your clients, look, we work on a pay-per-lead basis, but the last thing you want is for your accounting to be a mess and for me to be billing you every single day for leads that come in. It's chaos, it's impossible to track, and it's a nightmare for you, it's a nightmare for me. So the way we work, Mr. Prospect, is we set and guarantee a specific amount of leads against a specific qualification criteria so you know they're going to show up and be the right fit for you. Okay, so we remove that risk. I'm going to guarantee you a certain amount of leads. We're going to set a price on what you pay for those leads. We're going to let a month roll out, and if I don't generate that number of leads, I will refund you the collateral against what you paid me. So if you're not with me, let me explain. So let's say you want to make $1,000 per month. So let's say that you set, I'm not saying this is what you should set, but this is just an example, it's arbitrary, right? Let's say that you set the cost of $20 per lead. That's what you think a lead is worth, and more importantly, that's what the market is willing to pay for a lead. Qualified lead, are they willing to pay $20? Probably, right? So you set the cost of $20 per lead. What you then do is you say to the prospect, what you're going to do is you're going to pay me the $1,000 a month retainer. And this is where people get confused, so bear with me. You say to the prospect, you pay me $1,000 now. I'm going to guarantee you 50 leads, minimum. Promise, guarantee, swear it on my life. I'm also going to cap, you don't have to do this, but it's up to you. I'm also going to cap, right? Let's try and draw a cap. It looks like a disabled duck. But anyway, you're going to draw a cap on how many leads they pay for. Because you say to them, look, if we do pay per lead and I go crazy and generate you 150 leads that you can't deal with, you're going to pay through the roof for leads that are inefficient and you can't deal with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cap it at 50 so that any extra value that goes beyond that, you're not paying extra for. So by paying me up front, not only do you miss out on, you don't have to deal with this accounting nightmare, but it also means you cap your spend, which means that you can predictably, reliably budget for the growth of the business and it's not chaotic. That's how you get around the objection. So, you promise them 50 leads. Here's the cool thing. What you then do is you say to them, if we don't generate 50 leads, we refund you against the collateral of what you paid. And what that means is if you generate 49 leads, right, because we know the value of each lead is $20. So for every lead that you miss under this guarantee, you refund them the value of the initial leads they've paid for. Let me give you an example because it gets hard to follow. If you only generate 49 leads out of 50, then you refund them $20. And you refund them $20 because you've missed one lead, and the value of one lead is $20, right? Let's say that you only generate them 25 leads, right? You generate them 25 on the month. Well, then what you do is you then go ahead and you refund them $500 because what's 25 times 20? It's 500. And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to collect a bunch of cash up front. Obviously, the prospect's still going to have to pay for ad spend. So you need to tell them, look, the ad spend thing is separate. It's $750 a month. It's $1K a month. That doesn't touch my pocket. I can't make guarantees on that because the money doesn't go to me. I can't refund you money that I don't receive. They'll understand that. It's fine. As for paying you, you tell them, if we don't generate the number we promised, I will refund you the difference. Now, there's a second model I'm going to show in a second, so just stick around because there's an even cooler way of doing this specifically for other niches like e-com, etc., etc. So just stick around. But that's the premise of the sales argument here. All right, so let me give you another example. Let's take the, I don't bloody know, let's take the Cairo niche, right, for our sins. So let's say you want to charge them $2,000 a month. You want to make $2,000 per month per client so that you can have 4 clients and go and sit on a beach in Bali, right? So let's say you set the value, if I don't know if this is an arbitrary number. I'm not telling you, if you're in the Cairo niche, I'm not saying that you should charge this. Do not take this as gospel, but I'm going to keep the number simple. Let's say that, you know, you're going to say it's $100. Now let's say this is a pay per appointment offer. So it's $100 for every booked qualified appointment. And if you're wondering what qualified means, we'll go into that another day. Subscribe. So I did that. $100 per appointment. So what you then do is you say to them, all right, well, Mr. Prospect, what I'm going to do is you're going to pay me $2,000 now as a down payment. You have to position it as it's a deposit against the future appointments you'll get. You're not paying me for marketing. You're paying a down payment, a deposit for a set number of leads that will be delivered over the month, right? And you have a contract for this and everything. I'm not going to give you a contract and I get in legal trouble if it's not in alignment with the terms of your state or country, but you get the point. So you say to Mr. Prospect, I'm going to generate you 20 leads. We're going to value each appointment, or 20 appointments. I'm going to value each appointment at $100 per appointment, which puts the total value of all these appointments at $2,000. Mr. Prospect, if I give you 20 qualified appointments, would you say that's worth $2,000? The beautiful thing about this model is it makes the sales so much easier because then they are, in their mind, they are directly paying for appointments. So you say to them, the sales argument is, look, man, would you say that $2,000 is worth 20 appointments? In your head, if they're qualified and they show up. Now, you might have some doubt from them about the quality of the leads or, oh, I don't want to pay it up front because it's risky. But you say, look, man, you're going to do this with your credit card. We're going to process it through Stripe. So if I run off of your money, which I'm not going to, or if I don't deliver and don't refund you, then you have this, I'll send you this call recording and you have the contract. You go to your credit card processor, you dispute the payment, you receive the money back within 7 days. That never happens because people never dispute because we deliver, but you are protected. You're putting a deposit against these appointments, and if you don't get them, you will get the money back. Either through me, because I'm trustworthy and I promise I will refund you, and if for any reason I'm not trustworthy, which I definitely am, but you know, if for any reason I'm not, then you go to your credit card provider, you dispute the payment, you get all the money back. Now, you could do that anyway, even if I got you the leads, and there's not much I could do about it, but I sense you're a trustworthy person. So can you trust me to give you your business and make this happen? That's how you handle the objection. And this lubricates the sale. The word lubricate is awfully suspicious in this context, but you get the point, right? It lubricates the sale, it reduces the friction, and it increases the conviction. So in sales, how do we close appointments? How do we close deals? We reduce friction of buying, we increase conviction of buying. And this model allows you to do that. And so let's say with the chiropractor guy, let's say like you're like, oh shit, I've only generated him 17 appointments for the month, right? Then, well, what you're going to do is you're going to go in, right? We know the value per appointment is $100, and we are 3 appointments off the guarantee. So we do 3 times 100, and at the end of the month, we say, Mr. Prospect, as a man of my word, here's your $300 back, right? Now, let's say that you actually generated them 31 appointments, right? It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to put a cap on the number of appointments you generate them and what you bill them for. But maybe you say to them, listen, anything after 20, I'm going to bill you $50 for. Then you have some even more value. So you say, look, after if I generate you 50 appointments this month, we're going to bill you for the extra 30, but at half the price. So there's all sorts of ways you can move around with this, depending on how good you are. It's a great little model, something that people don't consider. It took me probably like 4 or 5 years of SMMA to realize this. I was like, why the fuck am I not doing it like this? But ultimately, I love this model. So there's a second model. And this is probably even smarter, one that I created. So you heard it here first. I haven't copied these models from anyone. I haven't like stolen them or taken them from some course. This is from the source, directly from me. So let's get into it. So this one is called the Trojan Horse Retainer. And this one is, this is for agencies that know they've got a great service, but are either in a really saturated niche, a really burned niche, or they just struggle to get clients, right? So Trojan Horse Retainers. So we all know the story of the Trojan Horse. I'm going to try and draw a horse here. Let's give it a go, shall we? All right, you get the point. This is the Trojan Horse, right? And inside of this Trojan Horse, you know the story. You've got all these little army people. I think they're definitely called soldiers, Charlie. All these little army people who basically got into this gate of this city, and then they basically all got out, and then they ransacked the city. Blah 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 blah. Right? You know the drill. We all know the archetypal story of the Trojan Horse. And if you don't, then you definitely need to go back to school. So how the hell does a wooden horse with men in it that kill people apply to business? Well, in a pretty cool way. The Trojan Horse Retainer is very simple. It only really works if you can deliver good results. Because here's the thing about this Trojan Horse here, right? If you're the army that sends the horse in, you can send the horse in. The horse can be as amazing as you want. But if the people inside can't fight or you don't have anyone inside, it doesn't matter. So what we're doing here with your agency is you go to, this is you, right? And this is your prospect, right? You both look a bit deformed, but it's fine. You go to the prospect, and what you do is you say this. You say, Mr. Prospect, I want you to pay me a retainer for me to do your marketing services. I want you to pay me every month a nice fat lump sum because I'm going to add value to you. What I don't want you to do is pay it now. What I want you to do is take me on. I'm going to show you my worth and prove to you that I can change your life and your business. And after 1, 2, 3 months of that, I'm going to introduce that retainer. So, Mr. Prospect, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a Trojan horse. I'm going to get into your business, right? I'm not going to charge you a retainer or try and bill you monthly for now. After 2 months or 3 months, whatever period you want to pick, right? I wouldn't recommend any more than 3 months. 2 months is ideal. After 60 days, you're going to be so reliant on my business. You might want to phrase it as transparently as this, but this is how it works, right? You're going to be so reliant on my business that you have no choice but to keep paying my retainer because I've changed your life and your business. I want to partner with you and provide so much value that you have no choice but to pay me. That's my strategy. I'm going to be honest with you. So what you do, and it only works if you've got a good service, right, is you go to the prospect and you collect a setup fee. You cannot do this. Do not do this without collecting a setup fee. So what you do is you go to them. Let's say you're the prospect. I say, look, say I am an e-commerce agency or any sort of agency. You are an e-commerce brand. You have a problem. I can solve it for you. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to pay me $1,000 now. The reason you pay me $1,000 now is because over the next 2 months, you're not going to pay me another penny. Over that 2 months, I need to pay for my media buyers. I need to pay for my graphic designers. I need to make sure that my team eat. So that $1,000 isn't profit for me. It goes to my team so that they have the ambition and the incentive to make sure you get good results. In 2 months' time, I'm going to come and knocking on your door for a retainer of $2,500 a month plus 10% of ad spend, whatever you want to put in. By that point, you'll be so happy with the service we provided that you'll be happy to pay that retainer. And the strategy here is very simple, because if you actually can deliver good results over a 2-month period, you're delaying the gratification of the retainer because you're still getting paid. Do not sign a client without that setup fee paid, because then they're not a client and they will fuck you over. I promise you, do not do it. It's tempting, but don't bloody do it. It's the same thing with the pay per lead thing. The reason we don't go straight pay per lead is you need commitment. You need upfront payment. Otherwise, people have no incentive to treat you well, and it's a nightmare. So you go to them and you basically say, so here's how it works. Like month 1, right? Month 2, month 1, month 2, and then we've got month 3 here, right? So how it works is like month 1, you say, look, you're going to pay me this onboarding fee. Don't call it a setup fee. Call it an onboarding fee, or call it like an expense fee, or like a team expenses fee, something that makes it tangible that they're paying that to go to your resources. Like you can literally call it anything, like a resource fee. So we have a resource fee of $1,000. The reason behind that, Mr. Prospect, is because in order for me to run your campaigns properly, I need to pay my team. I need to make sure we've got the right creative, and all of the total expense that will amass over the next 2 months is about $1,000. So you're paying that. It doesn't go to my bottom line. It goes to my team. It just means we can get you set up properly. If you don't have that $1,000 resource fee, I can't resource your campaigns. You won't get results. So that's why we need to charge it. You have to justify it. You have to give them reasons, logical, tangible, understandable reasons. Otherwise, they just will be like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. So you say the resource fee, right? Obviously, they're going to pay ad spend as well. They should understand that. And then what you do, month 2, you charge them nothing. And then month 3, you say, right, you set the expectation from the get-go. Like, I'm going to charge you $3,000 a month. I'm going to charge you $10,000 a month. I'm going to charge you $1,005 a month. Whatever you feel is appropriate. But here's the thing. If you've got a client that you know you can help, and you know you can service them really well, and you know that after 2 months, you'll be able to blow their socks off. Like, what you then do is you just come to them at month 3 and say, hey, as we initially agreed in the sales call and in the contract, you're going to pay me a retainer. And then what you do when you onboard them here, right, at month 1, at day 1, is you go into Stripe and you set up a delayed payment of 60 days for the amount you want to charge. So you don't wait until month 3 and say, oh, can you pay me the invoice now? No. You tell them from the get-go, we're going to set this payment up for 60 days from now. It's going to be you pick the amount, right, whatever amount you want to charge. It's going to be 2,000 a month, it's going to be 3,000 a month, it's going to be 10,000 a month, and you will be automatically billed. I will check in a couple days before just to let you know it's going to be billed, so it's not going to come out of the blue, but I'm not going to come asking to be paid. Because by doing this, they've made the decision that they will pay the retainer. If you wait until month 3 and you haven't got it set up and they haven't mentally put in their card details and they haven't agreed to the date at which they'll be billed, then you'll go to them in 2 months and then they'll be like, oh, can we just extend it for another month? Like, I think results are sort of coming in. We can't be profitable, but I just want to see for another month. That is exactly what will happen because you have to understand human nature and incentive. And that's how business owners will work. So, but from the get-go, if you get the resource fee and you get the commitment and you say, look, here's the payment, it's been scheduled, I will tell you a day before. Maybe you don't want to, maybe you just tell them, set that date and you're going to be billed. Maybe you don't want to tell them, it's up to you, right? However you want to run your business. I would personally tell them, and then that way it rolls around, it happens automatically, so there's not even a conversation of, hey, here's the invoice, can you pay me? It's just done, right? So it's a great deal for them, it's a great deal for you. It only really works if you can deliver them good results. So I wanted to share this with you because that model is just as sort of potent as that pay per lead upfront model that I sort of explained to you. This is scratching the surface, by the way. We've actually got a program called Easy Grow that basically explains how to do stuff like this in more detail. Easy Grow is our flagship program that we sell at Imperium. We've got a myriad of different courses and like information on how to get clients, how to structure businesses, etc., etc. It's quite expensive. It might not be the right fit for you at the moment, but if you do want to check it out, then you can go and click the link in the description. I say it's expensive. It's not in contrast to the value you provide, but if you are new to business, it may or may not be the right fit for you. Either way, if you want to talk about it and listen about how we can help you, this is literally just like 2 things of like 700 that we've got in Easy Grow that you can use to get more clients and different ways you can structure it. So if you are struggling to get clients and you want a faster route and you've got a little bit of capital to invest, then by all means just put that in the description. Even if you're sort of thinking, I'm not sure if it's going to be the right fit for me financially, just schedule the call anyway, because the worst case scenario is it's not now, but it might be in 3 months, and then that way you can just come on board in 3 months. So either way, that's my pitch. You don't have to buy the thing. I don't really care if you schedule or not. It doesn't really matter because we've got such a high volume. But if you think it could change your life, which you probably can, then buy it and check it out. So I would also ask you to subscribe because I make lots of videos like this and I like having subscribers because it invalidates my deeply insecure self. I'm joking, but it does help me. If you want to like the video, you can like it because YouTube will then show you other videos like this instead of shit videos that don't add value to life. And if you disagree with this or want to add something, then you can comment below. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Take care.